everyone, I'm Joseph Eulo. I'm the founder of the Indie Film Collective, and I'm here at Aged at the after party of the opening night at the Festival of Cinema in Forest Hill, Queens. And I'm here with Emma, the producer of Shadow Puppet, and she's also the lead actress, and
Michal
Vondel, also another lead in the film. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about Shadow Puppet.
So Shadow Puppet is a short film. It's about 11 minutes long, and it deals with the aftermath of sexual assault in a relationship. So recently there's been a lot more talk about sexual assault in the media, and what we really wanted to do was talk about what that's like, not just in the immediate post-aftermath, but also long-term for survivors. So I think a lot of survivors feel like they end up holding the hand of people who love them, who care about them, and holding their hand through dealing with their own, how they feel about what happened to their loved one. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't come forward as well, is...
It's a burden.
Yeah, it's a burden to bear, but not just in the trauma of what happened, but also in how it affects the people who love you.
Right.
And the knowledge that when you share this information with people, that it's going to really upset them, and it's difficult.
What I meant by burden is a burden for the survivor to comfort those who love them.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and I think it's an unfair burden.
Yeah. And so what inspired Shadow Puppet?
Real life, and personal experiences. My husband wrote it and directed it, and I produced and starred in it, and it very much comes from real life experiences for both of us. And I think that's not a real life experience that we're alone in. It's something that 1 in 3 women and their families and loved ones share, and we wanted to speak to the truth in that.
Those stories need to be told.
Yeah, and also look at the perspective of not just the survivor, but also the people who love them.
When did you know that you wanted to play this role in the process? When did you realize that?
Well, it was written for me.
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning. Yeah, it was a sort of a cathartic thing that we did together.
All right, that's great.
And so it was never, in no iteration was there ever anyone else who would have been involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Besides this guy.
Yeah, who randomly got involved having a smoke with El Daniel the Capitan outside of some really, really random party. But yeah, nonetheless.
What attracted you to the role?
Honestly, I met Daniel, and he seemed like a very solid human being. And then he had spoke about the script the night I had met him, and then later on he brought it to my attention again, and I read it, and I mean, he's a very talented writer. So like for an actor, it's almost was like sort of a gift, because you don't often get material that is actually seems oddly enough that is actually thought out completely, has multiple layers, you know what I'm saying, like
authentic and sincere.
It's really really genuinely just like very very well done, written from all aspects. And so that, apart from just knowing him, just being like, I like this guy's vibe, you know what I mean, like I feel like I could work with him, that was like what made me be like, done, like absolutely, like whatever you need, let's do this.
Right. And Emma, what was your biggest challenge in the process and in the shooting of the film as an actor playing such a demanding role, I think, psychologically, emotionally?
Time. Yeah, so we shot the film in 2 days, but not really 2 days. It was like a day and a half, really. And so when you're racing the clock, we're also really light dependent. So the light, there's a lot of windows on the side of the room that we were shooting in, and so what that meant was there wasn't a ton of time when you're doing a really emotional scene, and it's very subtle. There's not like huge explosions or anything like that, but when you're doing a really emotional scene and you want to have those layers there wasn't a ton of time to regroup between takes. Right. And I think that was probably as an actor, the most challenging thing. Yeah.
So you had to get in and out of character. Was that hard?
It's more just that I was also the producer, and we were doing this with many of our wonderful friends who were giving their time for free, who are people who are at the top of their craft. I mean, they've worked on some of the most phenomenal productions that have ever been done here, and biggest productions that have ever been done here. And so they're really true professionals who are giving us their time for the love of it, and for love of us, and for the importance of the story. And so wanting to be valuing of them and their contribution, but also then needing to kind of like flip in and out.
Is there anyone in particular that really stood out on set behind the scenes that really that sticks in your mind?
I was about to grab that. There being like everyone, but like I was about to say like Maceo. Maceo Bishop, the cinematographer, was really. I mean, that guy's super skilled. I bet everyone that was involved. I don't know them as personal as Emma and Daniel
Chris
did.
Granito, who was the key grip, he is like a workhorse and just such an incredible guy with such a huge knowledge base. Maceo, who is a cinematographer, is incredibly talented. He shot like The Greatest Showman, all of that stuff you see is him.
Wow.
He's an incredibly talented. We were so blessed with such
amazing,
incredible technicians who are really, really good at their craft.
You know, it takes a team to really make a good film, right?
Totally.
And I think the way a team is, the camaraderie on set directly affects what's on screen. Would you agree to that?
100%, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, this is not obviously your first film, but I think every film has an opportunity for us to learn and grow. So what was your big takeaway about that you didn't know before that you did, but you finally understood with the making of this film, as a producer, as an actor?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, so my husband, Danny, who wrote and directed, and I have worked together a couple of times before this. And on a personal level, we understood our place and how we work together a little more seamlessly this time, and where our strengths lie and where we can let the other person really flourish, and sort of our paths a little bit.
Kind of like you observed what position they were playing and you kind of didn't interfere, kind of like that?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
How hard is that to do as a producer-actor? When did you know to put your producer's hat on and then your actor's hat on?
You know, I felt like kind of what I was explaining before, in that I felt like a big part of my role on the day was sort of to facilitate and be social and make sure that people felt valued and talk to everyone.
Such an important thing to do.
Yeah, I think it is such an important thing to do, and it's really undervalued, especially when you get on a big film set. There's so much of a hierarchy, which I think is a bit...
Yeah, right.
I have issues with that.
Right.
Because the incredible thing about film sets is that so many people work so seamlessly together, and they're so good at their very specific job, you know, and there's no one wouldn't live without the other. None of those roles could be done without all of the other roles.
Right. It's totally a collaborative process.
It's a very collaborative process. So to put hierarchy in that is, you know, not a fan. But
there's no place for that on an independent film.
No, there's not, because everybody's in it together.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's giving something of value to make it, regardless of what the rate they're giving. They're providing their skill set.
Yeah, absolutely. That not that many people can provide. You know, it's a very specific skill. So I think just in terms of that, like wanting to make sure that everybody felt valued, and then flipping into, you know, quite a serious role, that was sort of challenging. But otherwise, as a producer, I feel like a lot of my stuff was done. We had other producers who did far more, Blaze Miller, far more than me. So I think a lot of the stuff that I did was done well before we were actually shooting, and then when we were actually shooting, I was able to focus on acting.
Tell me the best piece of direction your director gave you during the process, and how did it impact your performance?
There was really
Actually throw up?
No. That he was like, you do your thing, Mike. You go. And I tried, but I didn't have enough food in my stomach to
continually throw
to
up?
like actually get like a good one going. There was one piece of directorial advice oh God, he kept on repeating to me throughout my shoot there. It was
Was it to keep you in character?
No. It was just along the lines of softer.
I think that what happens with Michal's character is it runs the risk of being unsympathetic, and what we wanted was for the audience to really be able to see both sides and empathize with both Leda and Will.
I basically just was like, for me, in terms of like everything I do, usually I'm like a pretty good gauge of my own, like, you know, self, and he kept saying softer. I'm like, all right, all right, let's just step into these shoes that
Yeah.
I've never really been this soft in like any sort of like acting set scenario. This is all meant to happen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much it.
Have you done theater before?
I practiced in theater.
Okay.
So I mean, like I started in theater and I practiced in theater, and so I would say that's that. I, sometimes here and there I do a play, but yeah, equal parts really. Where it is I go.
And what's next for Shadow Puppet?
Well, we
The
are.
Oscars.
No, Amazon.
Not a joke.
Let's manifest.
Yeah.
Amazon started a film. We've had a run of 6 different film festivals in the city, and then Amazon has started a film festival this year that we participated in, and we're in the final top 10 of that. So we'll find out how that goes in August.
So
which
is Shadow Puppet available on Amazon?
It is available on Amazon Prime. You can watch it, Shadow Puppet.
What's your best piece of advice that you can give to an aspiring filmmaker as a producer?
Just don't give up. Just keep going.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy the other day who is a friend of ours, Riz Ahmed. He's an actor. He's in his film, and he said to me, he was like, I've been trying to make this film for 10 years.
Right.
You just don't give up, and eventually everybody else gives up, and you're still standing. So.
Now, as an actor, a piece of advice you would give for an actor, an aspiring actor, you know the hurdles and the disappointments that actors go through.
Yeah, I
Never give
do.
up.
Same thing. Don't give up. And don't take things personally. Often it's not about you. It's about the fact that you have brown hair instead of blonde hair, or you have like blue eyes instead of brown eyes, or you just don't feel right. It's really not about whether you did a good job or not. A lot of it is just about do they see you as the character.
Right.
So don't take it personally. You just keep showing up.
Your advice, my friend, has to be different from hers.
Just be you.
Yeah.
That's right. Acting is not acting, it's reacting, right?
That's right. That's right.
Just do your thing. And I'm sure if your thing is the thing, someone's going to be like, oh, I like that thing. And they're going to be like, let's try this person, and that might work out for you. If not, sorry, but there's just like trillions and millions of us, and it's like a hard fact that like it's really just not roses.
It's a hard
It's not roses, anybody.
No.
It's really not.
It's work.
You have to
It's
love
work.
it, though. You have to love what
There's
you
no other
do
reason.
and really want
You
to.
can't do it for the money, you can't do it for the glory, you can't do it for the fact that your best friend's doing it. You got to do it because you want to do it, you love it. You have to have the need to do it.
Yeah.
And that's as filmmakers too. Filmmakers need to have that need. Emma, and once again, Michal and Emma, thank you again for being on our show. You're honorary members of the IFC. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing Shadow Puppet. And that's it here in Forest Hills, Queens at Aged at the after party. And we'll see you next time.